Hey, welcome back to the farm. Well, we got our parts today, and now we're going to start putting this back together. I did take out the rear cap here, main cap there that has the seal in it, and I think I might have found out why it was leaking in the first place there. Let me show you here. And here it is. Got the bearing out of it right now. Looks like at one time somebody replaced this. They got the rubber seals on it, on the sides. And I think original, they were like some kind of hard, like a pad material. You can see right down at the bottom, this is where the oil pan bolts on, and a lot of big gap right there. Oil can come out, and the other side, as you can see, there was just a little short. Let me bring it over here. On this side, there's just a little short piece in here of either gasket maker or something, and there's a big gap right there. So that could have been a lot of oil coming out of that too. So we'll get the new side rubbers in, and the new instead of a rope gasket here, or rope seal, it's going to be a rubber seal. And hopefully I can get the upper part kind of pushed up and around inside of there. I might have to loosen up the rest of the main crank caps there, bearing caps. Try to get it to maybe cock a little bit so I can push it up in there. Well, let's see if I can get it in there. Boy, that was a job getting that gasket out of the top there. The rope gasket. Let's see if I can give you a look up in there. Somewhat. See, the outer groove is where the gasket goes, and the inner one is the return for the oil to drain back in. You can kind of see it there. And what I had to do was loosen up the center and the front bearing caps and kind of let this come down a little bit in the back here. And I had to kind of pick it out and try to tap it out with the space I had there. So now I'll oil up the upper seal and push it up and around the groove there. And this is a little better angle of what it kind of looks like up there. This is the front of the engine, and the rear groove is for the oil seal, and the more front groove is just an oil return here, drains back. Now with that seal there, you have to kind of offset it. It says like this. They give a little gauge of how far down on one side to offset it with the kit. And you have to make sure you put that groove towards the front of the engine. So I'll put the one up and around the crank. Make sure I lube it all up and put it in. Now the side ones, here's an old one here. The side ones go in with the taper inwards. And what you do, when you put it up in there, make sure you lube it all up with oil, these seals and stuff. And you get these pins that you drive up along the bearing cap here, and that pushes the seal outwards to seal it. It gives all the instructions, and that's the part number. Well, let's see if we can start getting it back together. There, now I got the seal up in there, as you can see right there. I got it offset a little bit, like it's supposed to be. Had to tighten up the caps a little there and get the crank up so it would stay in the groove as I put it around in there. So now I'll get the cap all ready to go back up on there. And now the bearing cap is back in there with the seal offset and just hand tightened lightly. And I lubed up those side seals there. You can see slid the rubbers up in there. Now I have to put those pins in on the inside groove on them. Lube up the pins there and hammer them up in there with a hammer. And now I have those pins in there. You have to lube them up and be careful not to bend them. They bend very easily if you hit it the wrong way a little bit. But that really tightens up those seals there. Now all I have to do now is torque the cap and the other caps that I loosened up, and then we can get started on putting the oil pan gasket on and the clutch and flywheel. And now I'm going to torque those main bearing caps down. The torque is 95 to 105 foot-pounds, so I'm going to set them at 100 foot-pounds right in the middle, and that should be good. And now we got the oil pan all back on there. Those bolts are torqued to 15 to 18 foot-pounds, and we just put the flywheel back on, put the new bearing in it, which is a lot better now. And I made sure to line up my timing marks with the hole again. And we torqued the bolts to 75 to 85, so I put them at 80. And now we're going to put the clutch back on here, make sure this is all sprayed off good, make sure there's no oil at all on it. And then I gotta change the throwout bearing. That just unhooks with a couple of springs on it. You slide it out, and then I'll have to press off the old bearing and put the new one on it. And now we got the clutch and the pressure plate on it. Torqued the bolts to a whopping 13 foot-pounds. I went a little bit more, I went 14. Seems kind of light duty, but those are pretty small bolts. So next up is the throwout bearing. Well, now we got the throwout bearing on. Pretty easy to get that off there. Just kind of tapped it with a hammer and it came off the support there. And we cleaned up all the inside of the housing there. So I guess now it's just a matter of putting it back together. Bolting it back up. And there, with a little wiggling and jacking there, got it back together. Now I just got to put the hydraulic pump on, hook up the radius rods, the steering rods. Should be good to go then after we put the engine oil in and the hydraulic oil. So let's see if it'll fire up after that then. There, now we got it running again. Running pretty good. Put a new carburetor on it. Aftermarket one, eBay. It seems to be working. Clutch is working real good. Sounds like it's running real good. Yeah, before we put that carburetor on it there, they had somebody put a Zenith carburetor on it off of like a Farmall Cub or a C, Farmall C. Wasn't even the right thing that was supposed to be on there. So that's a lot better having more of the original carburetor on there. Yep. Yeah, so she runs real good now. No leaks. And that new clutch really does the job. Got a new carburetor on it. So I guess he'll be pretty happy getting the tractor back working again now. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the next video.